A final preview for the Adeptus Mechanicus today, where here on Showcase we have the new Holy Order traits with another layer of powerful buffs on characters. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, the strategy focused 40k channel, where today we're going over the latest Warhammer Community preview for the Admech, which will be the new system for these Holy Order traits that we had from Engine War. Currently in 9th edition, these 4 Holy Order options are all custom Warlord traits, where basically at the start of each turn you select one of 3 powerful buffs to go off on your units, which can be anything on exploding 6s from anything nearby, to giving Cataphoron Servitors a 5+ feel no pain. They're really quite strong, and were a genuine power boost to the faction when Engine War came out, so much so that Games Workshop actually wound up FAQing it so you could only have one on your Warlord rather than running all of them. Now, however, it does seem that they're going to be radically changed in the new decks. They are no longer Warlord traits, they're going to be Admech's paid for unit upgrades, basically paying some points to make your Tech Priest a bit better in one of the 4 different ways if it makes sense to. We don't know if there's going to be any detachment related restrictions to them, or whether or not you'll be able to run all 4 on Tech Priest within a couple of detachments if you need to, or whether there'll be some sort of restrictions on top of that. I think it's potentially quite powerful though, the fact that they're not going to be Warlord traits, as it means that your Tech Priest both will provide its own innate character buffs, say the Tech Priest Dominus giving you reroll 1s to hit, and then you can combine it with the buffs from one of these traits, and a Warlord trait, and a relic. You could potentially make some incredibly stacked characters that could still provide some crazy value to an Admech force. The traits themselves come in 2 parts of buffs. The first one lowers the command point cost of a stratagem once per game, and the second part is called a progressive ability. You get an initial part right from the start of the game, and then you can activate up to a progressive part by your Tech Priest doing an action. If they perform the Activate Advanced Protocols action, then you'll go up to the advanced part. So far they haven't clarified though exactly how long that action will take. Some of them just lock you up for the movement phase, some of them will lock you up for the entire turn and not allow you to do anything else. They gave us one example of the Holy Order abilities, this one from the Magi, and also gave us a single preview for the one from the Artisans as well. The stratagem part of the ability is a 1 command point discount when you use an Epic Deed stratagem once per game. Obviously we don't know the details of the stratagems from the Admech decks yet, but I've got no doubt there'll be ones worth using, particularly if you factor in a 1 command point discount into it. That'll make a lot of stratagems free. For me though, the progressive ability is the more interesting bit. The Magos one allows you in your command phase to add a +2 to 1 core unit's advance roll, so a little movement buff there, and it's going to be a bit more useful in some armies than others. Maybe I guess could be handy on anything that's going to be advancing and shooting with Cognis weapons perhaps, or if you're just going to be hurtling something towards the enemy, maybe some sort of assault unit, say if Sindonian Dragoons wind up being core. The advanced part though does sound far more scary and similar to one of the traits that you can use now. If you activate to the advanced part, you get to select 1 core unit within 6 inches in the command phase, and when they shoot, any hit rolls of 6s will score an additional hit. So it's basically exploding 6s on that unit, usually translating it into an extra 25% damage output. Not too shabby at all on a shooting faction, but of course we will have to wait and see exactly which units get core and which ones don't. I'd imagine that most squads will be, but we know that Cataphoron Servitors likely aren't. Of course this one's just going to be far more meaningful if you can actually buff something that's really strong firepower, as opposed to just getting a few more anti-infantry shots, say out of a troops unit. In any case, this Magi upgrade will cost 30 points. Seems likely that it could be worth it. Really depends on how strong Epic Deed stratagems are, how restricted the action is, and whether or not we get any solid firepower units that are core. The other one that was previewed was this Artisan's ability. Their stratagem ability is currently unknown again, and again their main buff is split into 2 different parts, an initial and an advanced part. The initial part seems actually kind of handy. You get to nominate 1 core or Cataphoron unit within 6 inches, and they can fall back and shoot and charge. The shooting would be at -1 to hit. Again, this is yet more confirmation that Cataphoron units are not going to be core in the new Admech decks, otherwise you wouldn't bother to specify Cataphoron separately, you could just say all core units. In any case, this one seems like fairly good assurance against getting locked up. Could definitely be handy when the enemy does manage to reach your lines. Again though, the advanced part seems far more interesting to me. This one you can just nominate 1 core unit within 6 inches, and then the unit's ranged attack gets +1 strength. This one really does depend on exactly what you're targeting with the unit and what sort of weapons are available on the unit to fire, but in general against certain targets this could be an absolutely great buff. Getting Vanguard Radium Carbines to strength 4 could be pretty meaningful, and if Taraxae Sterilizers get core as well, then getting strength 5 on their phosphor torches could be very nice too. Again, this one has me wondering whether Dragoons or Iron Striders would get core, Particularly Iron Strider autocannons would love this. Going from strength 7 to strength 8 is a really meaningful buff against quite a lot of targets, particularly heavier vehicles. So just a few more hints as to what's coming next in the Admech Codex there. I'm sure we'll have other details coming out very soon indeed, and I'll most certainly be getting a full review of the Admech Codex out just as soon as I can. If you'd like to see that or other 40k content and news when it comes out, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics. I do keep the 40k videos coming out pretty much every day. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos recently, I would just like to mention that the channel has a Patreon page down in the video description. Making all the content takes a ton of time, so if you enjoy regularly, any support is enormously appreciated. Channel patrons get a few advantages, such as seeing certain new videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things happens next in the channel, and automatic entry to the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some really big model kits each month. If any of that sounds fun, or you'd just like to check it out, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.